Welcome, everybody, to our second installment of our virtual Trojan Talk. Appreciate everybody joining us here on Zoom. I'm Barry McKnight, very special guests on this program. Our virtual Trojan Talk is presented by Mama Goldberg's, either location on the square in Troy and in Dothan, and of course by Santa Fe Cattle Company on Highway 231 in Troy, where steaks, ribs, and fajitas are served up real fresh and fun. We're joined by softball coach Beth Mullins. Welcome, Beth.
Thanks for having me.
And Coach Mark Smartt from the Troy baseball program. Welcome in, Coach.
Thanks for having me, Barry. Look forward to it.
Also pleased to have the Executive Associate Director of Athletics for External Operations, Kyle George. Kyle, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks so much for having me today, Barry. Happy to be here today.
Let's talk first of all with Kyle about just the overall status of things. Of course, this is unprecedented times. Everybody knows that, and it has affected every facet of life. We've had a really good representation from athletics about exactly what's going on, exactly what the plans are. You're there on the ground in the middle of everything. Give us an overview of the state of Troy athletics and sort of a plan for how things are right now and moving forward.
Well, certainly, like you said too, this is completely unprecedented times. We all wish we were talking about some upcoming baseball and softball games right now, but we're looking at some other events taking place for us right now. But kudos to our coaches, our staff for finding ways to not only keep pressing forward, but to thrive in this situation as well too. I know our student athletes have done very well in the classroom. It's a different classroom setting for them as well too, where I know Brent's talked about this before, where our coaches are really our academic coaches right now. They're making sure those student athletes are doing well in their new classroom settings when it's on the virtual situation there for them. But one of the things we're trying to do on the external side of things for us as well too is to keep having ways to connect with our fans and make sure that our fans can still be a part of Troy University athletics. I know, Barry, you've had several things we've put out there, whether it's podcast or getting a chance to revisit some of the historical items we've had there with our Throwback Thursdays. Reading with the Trojans has been a huge success. I know you've enjoyed that part there, especially the I think the belly button dance or whatever that one was there.
Yeah, got a lot of response about that, no question.
But all some great ways that we've been able to stay in touch with our fans. That's the biggest thing. We keep seeing, as we're all going through COVID-19, about how we're all in this together. I know sometimes that phrase might get a little bit overused, but really that is what is taking place. I mean, we've been kind of at the forefront of that as saying that we're one Troy and we're all in this working together, and you've really seen that continue forward even in the midst of some new times right now.
If you're with us on Zoom, thank you very much. And if you'll notice, if you're not totally checked out on the Zoom technology, at the bottom of your screen, there's a little icon for chat, and it'll open up our Zoom group chat. We are monitoring that right now. If you have a question for any of our guests here, by all means, that's what this program is about. It's about your access to everything going on here. Let's backtrack just a little bit and start most recently and then backtrack. And first of all, Coach Mullins and Coach Smartt, if you can both weigh in on this. Tonight would have been a very special night. The Miracle League was scheduled, and because of everything, I know it hurts your heart that the Miracle League outing at Riddle Pace Field has to be postponed. First of all, Beth, give us some context as to how the Miracle League has affected your heart, your program, and your players.
Yeah, a lot. And I was familiar with the Miracle League before I came to Troy, but really Troy and the Miracle League here has really opened my eyes even more of just how much it affects not only me, but just our players. And a lot of them weren't familiar with it at all until we started doing this and going out there and just having a blast. And when I say it just opens their hearts, and just the smiles on everybody's faces that are there, the participants, our kids, me getting to watch that, it's just a true sharing of the love of the game and just the love of each other. And my kids literally talk about it year round. When are we going to do it? And so they actually mentioned it in our Thankful Thursday this last week, how they were upset they weren't going to be able to get to do it. So I'm looking forward to getting back out there this next season and getting back out there with those kids, because they are just, they brighten our days, no doubt.
Coach Smartt?
I don't know if everybody had the chance, but athletics put out a video yesterday that coincided with the night it was scheduled, and several of our players were on the video, talked about what it meant to them, and you saw the joy from their expression, just how they talk about it. This started several years ago when we would go to their field and participate as the buddies, and our players would go in uniform and had a great time, great experience. And then just through a lot of hard work, we moved it over to Riddle Pace Field. We've had 2 years there. This would have been year 3. And that just kind of exploded into an event. It was an event. We had great crowds. We had the Doubles Alley group. We had PA music, softball, baseball combined. The joy it's genuine, Barry. It's genuine. It tugs at you. It makes you smile. It makes you feel better about yourself. And what I get, the joy I get is to see the smiles on our kids' face. What we do during the fall and the season it's very serious. They work very hard to try to compete and win games, and every time you play, it's important. You wear the losses hurt, the wins are exciting. It's very, very intense, and that's a night that the intensity disappears. It's just sheer joy across the board, and so it's always an extra special night. I hate that we've missed out on a lot of things, and when you evaluate everything we've missed out on, sometimes a baseball game, softball game lose importance. This one that will sting that we miss because of the value beyond the game. The touch, the heart to all involved. So can't wait till 2021. That date will be circled at the when it's announced, and everybody will be excited to welcome those young people back out on Riddle Pace Field, and we'll have a wonderful evening together.
From our Zoom chat questions, this is for both Coach Mullins and Coach Smartt. From Tim, great Trojan. He said, last week we discussed the letdown at the end of the season for basketball. How are our baseball and softball players dealing with the excitement of the start of the season being abruptly interrupted and ended? How do you comfort them and regroup? Again, let's go first with Coach Mullins.
I was asked that question last week sometimes, and I think, how do you handle? I'm like, well, I don't think any coach would be telling the truth if they said that they prepare at all for your season in the middle to just get abruptly stopped like it was. So, I think honestly our kids did not process it probably for a couple weeks, because I talk all the time. We were actually in Birmingham that Wednesday,
right,
in Sanford. And when we got off the bus to go play, there was nothing going on. When we got on the bus after we had gotten done, there was stuff happening with basketball. And then the next day, our season had abruptly stopped. I mean, it was 24 hours. So, I think, and again, I think Coach Smartt did a great job I think we gave our kids a lot of time to process it the way that they felt necessary. I don't think any kid or anybody can process it the same. And so we gave them a couple weeks, and, they all went home. And then we've been checking in a lot with them recently. I mean, these Zoom chats are amazing. I mean, I think a lot of coaches are using these too. I mean, you can have your 25, whatever kids on the screen together, communicating together. And we've done a lot of that, a lot of Thankful Thursdays, a lot of checking in on grades. So no, we're not on the field, but we're still Team 27. And we really have done I think, and me and my staff have done a good job of keeping them feeling like they're still Team 27, because we would still be together playing right now. So we're not going to try to treat that any different. So,
Barry, I can tell you this is my 31st college baseball season as a coach, and it's like none other. We're all in a unique time here, and I'm really not sure how we all dealt with it. I really don't know how you process. I don't know that I even processed it. What I tried to do is provide good direction, good information, as quickly and promptly as it was made to me. I tried to be upfront and honest with our young people. They're moving toward being adults, and unfortunately, we're dealing with very adult things here. And I reconciled it this way with myself first, and my players and coaches next. This goes way past baseball. This goes way past athletics. It goes way past Troy. This is a worldwide issue that we're having to deal with. So let's be good citizens. Let's try to learn and grow together. Let's try to be prepared for what's next. So let's forget about all the negative things attached with the loss of baseball, and let's focus on what we can do going forward to prepare for what's next. And like Beth said, the biggest challenge we've all faced is the academic process. That didn't stop. Baseball and softball ended. School didn't. And so they're having to do this from distance for the very first time. A lot of our kids have done online work before, Barry. Online work and distance is totally different. Distance means there's no connection. It's all, interrelated, and it's new. So we've had to work hard to make sure they're equipped for all of that. But I don't think reconciling a loss of a baseball season is really even possible. It just disappeared. It was gone. And so the best way I can help my young people understand is you have to deal with the hand that's dealt the best that you can. And at the end of the day, you have to learn and grow from it. And I'm confident that the next time our team is together, we'll be better for this. That's the only way you can move forward and try to improve.
Kyle George, you already referenced this a little bit about the framework. The constituencies, of course, are always primarily the student athletes and the fans as well. You've been on all the meetings, all the staff meetings, all of the communications since all this happened. How difficult is the discussion to making sure that the student athletes get the support they need remotely from Becky Whetstone and the academic support people and their professors? The framework seems like it would be daunting just in the scope of everything that's required.
Definitely. It's been tough to find new ways to, the good thing about Troy is that we're uniquely positioned to where we're an academic leader online as it is. And so that's been a great advantage for us with this. But you also have some student athletes that they may not have internet. That's something we learned early on, is that some of these student athletes, because most of their work they're doing in our academic labs and such. And so we took steps to make sure that was still available to them. And a lot of this is, there is no playbook for this, obviously. You have to read and adapt and learn, and in a lot of ways, and what our coaches do in terms of preparing their student athletes for competition, whether it's on the playing field or on the court, wherever that might be. There's only so much coaching you can do, and then when you're in the moment, you got to read and react to it there. And so that's kind of where, in a lot of ways, we're doing that right now too with academics. Finding ways to make sure our student athletes are doing well in the classroom, because they're not just right here in Troy, and for that matter too, they're not just in the Southeast. We got student athletes across the entire globe. We got tennis student athletes as well as golf student athletes that return back to their home countries, whether it might be in Europe or in Central America. So you've got individuals across the globe. And the great thing is that they're still Trojans. They're still getting after their schoolwork. They're still approaching it there. And our team as well too, they're doing some different Zoom meetings and such. And so you're adjusting to those schedules there as well too. So that's the biggest thing I think that's been kind of the main calling card for all of us, is just being flexible. We're all learning about new things right now and finding ways to engage and stay informed. But in this challenge that comes to us there, the biggest thing is you got to be flexible there and find new ways to keep pushing forward there. So a big thanks to especially our academic staff. Our coaches, they've been a huge part of that part, but the ones that are kind of the unseen heroes there for us in terms of who's kind of on our front lines for us here is our academic staff, who's really making sure, because they're in the finals week right now, making sure those student athletes are doing well in those finals right now.
He's Kyle George, Executive Associate Director of Athletics, External Operations. softball coach Beth Mullins, baseball coach Mark Smartt. This is our virtual Trojan Talk, sponsored by Mama Goldberg's Deli on the Square in Troy and Santa Fe Cattle Company on Highway 231. And it's meant as a conduit to you, the fans, to get your questions in. Again, at the bottom of the screen, there is a Zoom group chat. If you click that, you can submit a question. We're getting to those as quickly as we can. From Matt, he poses one to Coach Smartt and Coach Mullins. When do you think we'll start hearing if our seniors will be coming back for another year or not? Coach Mullins, you want to try to get that started, that conversation going on the framework and what the expectations may be?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different at every institution and every university about how they're handling it and maybe when they're going to announce what seniors and everything. We've met. I had a small senior group, so I only had 4 seniors, and I think what a lot of people don't always understand is that a lot of these kids are graduating in May. So, and they had plans to go, they already had jobs lined up, or I have one senior that had a really prestigious grad program in Florida that, she's already planning on going to. So I'm gonna have a couple kids that are planning on staying, and then a couple kids that, are going to go continue on with the life plan that they had, which I think is going to be a unique experience for each kid and each coach. And I think every coach is going to support their kid in whatever decision that is, because, life is, what we're preparing these kids to go out for. So you can't, not blame a kid when they're really feeling confident about it's time to go. But again, I think the announcements and when, fans know each senior that's going to decide to come back and how that's going to work is going to be different at each institution, including Troy. So I'm sure that'll be something in the future that will come out and get to be celebrated. And then we'll get to also celebrate those seniors that are not continuing, are not going to take that extra year and are going to graduate. I mean, that's what I'm actually looking forward to, is getting to celebrate those kids. I mean, they haven't had that chance yet. So I'm really looking forward to it.
I've spent really the last 6 weeks in good dialogue with each of the 11 seniors in our program, Matt, and it's been a lot of good dialogue, determining where each one of those are. And the interesting thing about this is they're all in a unique place. Every single one of them are in a kind of a different part of their process. Like Coach mentioned, some are going to graduate in May. I've got one graduating in July with a master's degree. That's my first ever master's graduate as a 31-year coach, master's degree. I'm really proud of that for him. And he accomplished that in 5 years, from entering as a freshman to a 5-year master's degree. That particular player won't be back. He will not have any more school left in his Troy career. So, but we're getting close to completion on that. There will be an announcement coming relatively soon. I do think that, just based on a little bit of dialogue, that it's possibly going to coincide close to the end of our season that would be coming up relatively soon, middle of May. I think May 16th or 17th was our last scheduled day. I think it'll coincide with that a little bit. But I can tell you that regardless of where the senior is, for the ones that are choosing, that will choose to move on, there's no good way for their baseball career to end. There's no good way. It's going to end. There's no good way. When you play your last game and you swallow that and move forward, that it's tough. It's tough. It doesn't matter if it was on March 12th, the day the shoe dropped in NCAA athletics, or it's the last game of your season in the postseason. It kind of stinks. And the unique thing about this timeline is it's given those seniors a chance that are not going to return. It's given them a chance to reconcile and move forward. They'll be more prepared to move forward now with all this time that they've had. But again, I look forward to welcoming several of them back, and I'll be wishing a lot of them well moving forward. Proud of all. The most disappointing thing about a season being canceled is you don't get a chance to truly honor those kids. Truly, meaning the full season, the full finish line. Senior day for every athletic team around the country is a critically important day, because you truly get to honor that player and his family. We'll miss that. we'll do it. We'll have an online tribute and we'll be posting things, but it's not the same. So they'll miss that. But some of them will be coming back. I would look for that in the middle of May for baseball, and can't wait to get that information out for everybody to enjoy.
Another question on a Zoom chat. Jeff speaks for a lot of Trojan fans who just simply don't know. Jeff says, how are your student athletes getting their work in over the summer, now that it seems as if summer leagues maybe or are canceling their seasons and there's no supervision? Coach Mullins?
Softball is a little different than baseball in that we don't have as many summer leagues for college players as baseball does. I know a lot of Troy baseball players go up and play all over the country during the summer. So ours is probably going to look very similar to what it usually does. I mean, our kids have to be really disciplined and getting with other players and getting those live reps in. I'm hoping the summer allows maybe some live reps to be going on between different players. If not, then, our kids have been working out. Obviously lifting heavy weights is a little more difficult than it probably has been in the past, but we have a great strength coach that has given them some workouts that they're able to do. And once the summer rolls around and we get back into what we would normally be doing in the summer, I'm sure we will include, some extra things. But again, I don't think it's going to look that different for our kids, maybe in softball as much as it might look for baseball and some of these kids that actually do travel to some of these places and play games in the summer. So that's encouraging. And our kids are blue collar hard workers. So I know they're going to get out there and make it happen however they need to. We have a saying, FIO, it just means figure it out. And I have no doubt that they're just going to figure it out because, we ended the season in the middle of the year on a really good run and a really, on a historical run. And I don't think they want that to not be the case this next year. So they're going to get out there and do what they need to do. I have no doubt.
Coach, what about your guys getting their work in over the summer?
Big challenge, Barry. The world of summer baseball is going to change. Several leagues have already announced that they're not going to have the league. The prestigious Cape Cod League just announced this week that they're canceling their season. Many others are going to follow. They're trying to be as patient as they can. And there's leagues all over the country, from Alaska to Florida, all throughout the United States. And our kids go all over. It's great competition. It's a unique part of baseball. You get unique experience playing in different parts of the United States, and I don't think that's going to be an option. So it's going to be more of a challenge. It'll be more individual work, which is not baseball, Barry. That baseball is you got to play. On the field, competition. You practice, you train, and you play. And it's quite possible that when our team starts up in the fall, whenever that day is allowed, that there'll be limited activity from middle of March all the way through till we get restarted because of the lack of competition. That's something we're monitoring the best we can, but ultimately, and I know Coach Mullins would agree with this, what I can tell fans or what I tell my team, the people that want to be great are going to work. The people that want to be average are going to do okay, and the people that don't really have as much interest in being great are going to just do the very minimums. And I've coached no great player that does the minimum. They're going to do the work, the ones that really mean something to. And regardless of all of that, the beauty that we have, that we will not compete again until February 2021.
Right.
We've got plenty of time. Whenever we get the opportunity to restart our work, we'll have time to get ready to compete. Football, volleyball, soccer, that's going to be a different ball of wax altogether because they're not going to have the typical lead-up times and the off-season times that we're going to have. So when Troy baseball opens up the 2021 season in February, I can promise you that our team will be ready to play because we're going to have ample off-season opportunity. These other fall sports is going to be a real unique challenge.
Let's address that just a little bit. Kyle George last week, amongst our questions that we have, and we asked you to submit them on our Zoom group chat. One of the questions was asked of Coach Lindsay, when's football getting back? That's coming up very soon. Our fans certainly want to do their part and do their work over the summer in supporting athletics in the fall. What about season ticket sales? What are some of the things that have been set up to make sure that fans, have ample opportunity to support football in the fall?
Well, and with that part too about the season tickets, we've strategically not tried to push too much right now. We
Sure.
held back a little bit, just knowing that everybody's got other issues they're working through right now. But the great thing about Trojan Nation is that our fans have still been buying those season tickets. They've still been renewing. They've still been buying brand new season tickets as well too. And that's without us even really pushing the envelope all that much. We've been here to help. We've been here to answer questions and walk people through the renewal process, but we've continued to see that at a steady clip so far, which has been very promising to see as we're making plans to come out of these stages here to hopefully get things back to a little bit more of a normal state here in the near future, hopefully. But with that in mind too, our renewal deadline, our priority deadline was May 1. We announced yesterday we've extended that to June 1. We wanted to make sure that fans have that time to make sure they get all the perks that come along with being a season ticket holder. And that includes a 25% off gift card, 25% off coupon to Barnes & Noble to purchase new Troy gear. They get that as being a season ticket holder. But the big caveat there that everybody's all excited about is that season ticket holder gift. In recent years, we've had the commemorative replica ring of the 2017 Sun Belt Conference Championship. Last year, we had the replica of Veterans Memorial Stadium. And this year, we have a bobblehead. We're having a T-Roy bobblehead, and it looks spot on T-Roy there as well, too. We were able to announce that artwork yesterday and get a chance to let our fans know, too, that we are extending that deadline to June 1. So that's for anybody that is either renewing their season tickets or purchasing for the first time. They can do all that online at TroyTrojans.com/tickets, where they can also give us a call because our team here, we're still working. Some of us are remote. Some of us are here in the office, but we're also all practicing the social distancing side there. But we're all here to help and make sure we stay in touch with folks. And that's been one of the things, too. It's been very key for us with our external team. The unique part about Troy is that we are such a tight-knit community, and that extends beyond just our city, but also to the Wiregrass, to Birmingham, the entire state here. So when we had those storms come through here last week, myself and our team, we got together and we started texting all of our season ticket holders just to check in, make sure people were doing okay there because we know it's been a tough time as it is with COVID-19, but you throw in these severe storms with the tornadoes and the straight line winds. We just want to make sure we're checking in on folks there. And the good thing is we heard back from everybody that everybody was well. You might have had branches down. You might have been without power, but it's just a chance for us just to stay in touch. And honestly, we didn't mean that to be a touch point in terms of, hey, renew your season tickets. But it did lead to that as well, too. We did see several people that said, thanks for checking in. I can't wait to get back for football. I'm putting my check in the mail this week. Things like that where we do know that we're all committed to this as one Troy. And it's going to be a key part for us once we do get into football season is that we need to make sure we get people back on board. We need to make sure our fans are excited and ready to get back for sports, which I believe people are. People are ready to get back to sports here. We're seeing that with record numbers for watching the NFL draft virtually. We're seeing that with The Last Dance, which I tune into every single Sunday night. I'm always going to watch that stuff because Michael Jordan, that whole story, fantastic to see that. But I know we're all dying to get back to some live events to really unite together and cheer on our Trojans together there.
If you got a chance, we got just a little bit of an opportunity for another question in on our Zoom group chat. This one is posed by Andy. Coaches, how have you been using this time to help your programs grow, whether it be advancing your knowledge of the game, reading leadership books, etc.? Beth, what have you got about this question? What do you think?
Well, I think Coach Smartt would probably agree. The amount of content, and it really has been amazing, the coaches in not only softball, but in baseball around the country, the amount of content and webinars and just conversations and Zoom chats that have been put together by different organizations. I just watched one yesterday on Stick and Ball that had two of our top coaches in the country just talking culture and talking a lot of things. But my staff and I both have really just eaten that up because
Sure.
some of it you've heard and some of it you never heard, and you get little tidbits here and there. And there's nothing better than a group of coaches that actually have some time now to get together and share information and just share different points of views about culture, about hitting, defense. I know actually Coach Smart's daughter, my assistant, Taylor Smartt, has been eating up those defensive webinars. I mean, when I say eating them up, I mean, she's probably doing one every day. And same with my pitching coach. I mean, it's just been gold. And I really appreciate just both of I've watched baseball ones, I've watched softball ones. I appreciate our community just as a whole in the country right now. And everybody could be sitting here and moping and complaining, and they haven't. So I've done a lot of that. Because of doing that, I haven't read I'm a huge reader, which you can probably see behind me. I've read more for pleasure, like just to get away from the game of softball a little bit, but watching the content on Zooms and stuff have really kept me in the game. And then just communicating with my mentors and people that are going to help you realize that, we're all in this together. So a lot of that, honestly.
Coach Smartt, what about you?
Well, it's really amazing, Barry. 5-6 weeks ago, I didn't even know what Zoom was. No idea. 6 weeks ago, I was not as technically savvy as I am today, and I'm certainly not savvy to the level of most of my contemporaries. But it's really amazing that the volume of content that's been put out there in the world of athletics, baseball in particular. There's been quite a bit of emphasis put on the different type of meetings, Zoom meetings, whatever. I've got one scheduled for next Monday and next Wednesday with 2 different groups. I've been asked to deliver some information. But I think that's the network of coaches that makes things grow. One of the topics that Andy mentioned is leadership. Typically, I spend most of my downtime trying to learn more about leadership and how to grow that side of my coaching ability, because quite frankly, you can be the greatest coach in the world, but it takes ability to lead young people, which is a very challenging thing in today's world. So I've tried to continue to grow. The day you stop growing, the day is the day you need to quit. And with all the advance of technology now, we have certainly access to any and everything we could possibly imagine. Who knew 6 weeks ago I'd have a home office? Now I've got a home. There's a lot of things that have changed in the last 6 or 7 weeks. And so I'm trying my best to stay current and stay motivated to be prepared when they say go play ball again. And we all know that needs to be sooner rather than later. We sure hope it's soon.
Let's close it out in this sense and start with Kyle and then Coach Mullins and Coach Smartt. Leave us with a thought as to your overarching view on how we'll get through all of this. The confidence that we have that not only will we survive, but we will prevail over the challenges that we've seen this spring and summer. First of all, Kyle, leave our Troy fans with something.
I think the way we get through it is obviously together. That's kind of been the overarching theme there for us, is that we all got to stay connected, find ways to communicate. And I know I talked to my staff about that as well too, where instead of just picking up the phone, kind of like how Coach Smartt was talking about, we really hadn't used Zoom all that much before, but it's been a great tool for us to be connected and see each other. That's the part where I know we're all kind of missing that human aspect part a little bit, where you're looking at people virtually, but you're looking forward just to, I want to be able to go down the hall and high five somebody when we have a success together there. We're kind of missing that part there. I can't tell you last time I shook somebody's hand. It's just part of that cultural part that you're so used to doing, but hey, we're doing fist bumps and whatever else we got to do there for it. Right. But I think that's a part of, we'll come together. We'll have that time to be able to reunite and be together once again, instead of just virtually. But in the meantime as well too, we just got to keep staying creative. And so from my standpoint, that's a little bit of an exciting part as well too, because my background is all in marketing, and this is a chance for us to really have some fun with it. And, really there's no ideas out that are too crazy to put into play here for us. We all need to find ways to just keep pushing the envelope to grow our brand, find ways to reunite our group together. And so when we do have that chance to come back together in person once again, I promise we're going to find a way to make that as fun and enjoyable as possible. But also, we're going to make sure it's safe for our fans as well, and especially too for our student athletes. Those are the ones that are at the forefront of our decisions, and that's what I'm looking forward to once we can get things back to in-person events once again. Because the virtual items right now, they're great. We love doing that as a way to stay connected with people. And there's going to be some of these things too, I think, that we've seen that have been really successful for us, that we can keep a lot of these things. If it's virtual Trojan Talk, if it's reading with the Trojans, things such as that, we've been able to unlock some new ideas. And you look at it and you're like, why don't we do that in the first place? This is a great thing we can do now. So I think we're seeing some great content pieces that we can keep using for our fan base. But again, nothing really replaces those live events. That's what we're most looking forward to. So for now, that's a bit for us to hang on to, but we're going to keep making sure we have those replays on Throwback Thursdays and such to keep things involved for our fans to be a part of.
Coach Mullins, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kyle said it best, together. I mean, I think that's what makes Troy in particularly really special right now. I feel very blessed to live in Troy and everything, not even for sports related, just when I go for a run, which Barry, you probably know this too, and when you go for runs, I mean, just the amount of people, I mean, I feel like Troy is all in this together too. So I think everybody knows that that's just life. You figure it out. And I have no doubt that we will do that. I mean, and just looking for the positives and everything. And there are positives that are going to come out of this. I mean, for our student athletes, for us as coaches, I mean, I have never in my life had time during this time. I mean, since college, ever had April weekends or anything where you can really get some me time. And I think our kids, perspective-wise, have really gained perspective on how much they really truly love playing the game of softball and love being around each other, and maybe do love those bus rides that, are for, I mean, I think knowing that there are positives of this and that the people that are a part of this program, and I think our AD, Brent Jones, has done a really good job of communicating and being very transparent about this whole situation with us coaches. We meet weekly, and getting to see all the head coaches' faces, every Monday at 1:00 just makes you feel like, yeah, we are all in this together. And I'm confident, and I think our kids are really confident that when we come back, like everybody said, I mean, there's an appetite for sports probably like you've never believed. So I cannot wait, and I don't know when that will be, to get out there, and not because, me and Coach Smartt seasons are last now, I mean, in the line. So I can't wait just to go out there and be a fan of our fall sports and get out there and go to volleyball and soccer and football and just be crazy. But yeah, the whole together part and just being positive about there are going to be some great things that come out of this, including just how much I think this community is going to enjoy watching these kids play when we are able to.
Coach Smartt, give us a thought to close us out.
I appreciate you having me on today, Barry. Jeff, I want to answer your question about camps or showcases.
Yes.
We have not gotten to that decision point yet. We're going to have to follow the lead of others there. And I think that, just small speculation, nothing in the month of May, possibly June, maybe, but more maybe July. So as soon as we get a green light, we'll get that word out to the proper people. Barry, for me, everybody knows how much Troy means to me and the beauty of Troy and all those things. What gives me great comfort and great confidence, a couple of things. One, typically success follows great leadership. We're very fortunate at Troy to have a 31-year chancellor in our system, Dr. Hawkins, who is arguably one of the greatest leaders that you could possibly have in control of an environment like this. He can draw on his many years of education background, his military background, to make great decisions. His impact follows all the way down. I think we're in great hands with our athletic director, Brent Jones, who's done a really good job getting out in front of all these things, doing the best he can, leadership-wise. So when you have good leadership, you have an opportunity to get back on track. And so I'm excited about that prospect, knowing that our leaders are going to make great decisions that we can all follow. The other thing that gives me great confidence, and I can say this with 100% conviction, Troy has always been there. Troy will never go. It's always survived. It's always been at the top of the heap, athletically, in many other facets, leadership-wise, business-wise, community-driven. All the things that are associated with Troy will stand strong through all that's in place. All the hurdles and obstacles we will clear. We always have, and we will continue to do that. It's a connection and a spirit that very few schools can match. You know, there's schools that have more fans. There's schools that have more attendance. There's schools that have a lot more things, Barry, but very few match the spirit of Troy. And proud to be a part of that as always. And again, I try to say this with all due conviction: our best days are ahead. And I can't wait to get back on the athletic fields. I can't wait to get students back on this campus. You talk about a renewed spirit. The day those kids are allowed to come back to campus, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be like a football weekend. They can't wait to get out of mom and dad's house and get back on their own terms. So we'll get through it. Troy always comes out on top. That's the beauty of our spirit. It'll never change. And I appreciate all the people that came on today. I appreciate the opportunity to be on with Barry and Coach Mullins and Kyle and all the support. Put a smile on your face. Keep your distance from everyone, but most importantly, and I always end it with Barry, go Troy.
Well said, Coach Smartt. We appreciate your time. Beth Mullins, the softball coach, Kyle George, External Operations Executive Associate Director of Athletics. This is our second virtual Trojan Talk. They're brought to you by Mama Goldberg's Deli on the Square in Troy and by Santa Fe Cattle Company on Highway 231. Thanks, as Coach Smartt said, to everybody who participated in this one. There will be a recording of this that'll be available on social media and online. Tell your friends. We'll do it every Tuesday. We'd love to have them involved in the questions as well, and we look forward to seeing all of you in person. For Coach Beth Mullins and Coach Mark Smartt and Kyle George, I'm Barry McKnight. So long. We hope you've enjoyed this special virtual Trojan Talk.